Hi, everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of the Chicago Techies podcast, a podcast focused on highlighting the voices of Chicago Techies and their experiences. This season, we'll be focusing on students looking to enter or entering the Chicago Tech community. I'm your host, Ceci F.B. Thank you for joining us. On today's episode, I am joined by Mariela Villalva, recent grad from Chicago State University and aspiring Scrum Master. Hi, Mariela. It's so nice to meet you, and thank you so much for taking the time to connect with me. And I know this was it took a lot to to get us scheduled and make this happen. But thank you for joining me in this week's episode of the Chicago Techies podcast. I'm super excited to talk about your career trajectory and your experience as a recent grad. And how you're looking to transition into the Chicago Tech community. So why don't we start with your name, your pronouns, where you're from, and your current role, if you have one.
My name is Mariela Villalva. My pronouns are she, her. I am from Hanover Park, Illinois, and current role is actually a stay-at-home mom.
Nice. Oh, yes. That's great.
Yeah.
But I know that you are a recent grad from Chicago State University, right?
Yes.
Great. And that was, and I think you were studying computer science. Is that what you were? Awesome. So let's go back to your high school experience. Where did you go to high school? Were you in the city or were you in Hanover Park in school?
Yeah. So my school was out in the suburbs in Bartlett, Illinois, called Bartlett High School. And yeah, it was out here.
Yeah. So when did you know you wanted to study computer science? Was that something that you kind of discovered in high school, or how did you choose your path?
Yeah, in high school, there were some electives like web and media design, Microsoft, Excel. And so I took all those courses and they were like really intriguing. And then my senior year, I took a computer programming course. And so I really liked that class. And that's was like half of my choice into deciding to study computer science.
Did they have a big technical or a few technical classes in high school, or was that the only class that kind of motivated you to go into that direction?
So my school, they have academy programs, and Bartlett major or focusing on STEM, but I was actually not part of that program just because I had soccer after school and stuff. So I did not have time to do extra schoolwork. So I just stayed in regular classes, and this class was just offered through just regular class. So I just only took this one.
That's awesome. I am from West Chicago.
Okay.
Illinois, so that's right next to Hanover Park. And also obviously Bartlett is one of the towns right next to it. So we played against Bartlett soccer. I played high school soccer all 4 years.
Me too.
Nice. So now let's say that you're your senior year and you're thinking obviously about majors and choosing schools. What was your process into choosing the college of your choice?
Yeah, it was mainly focused on soccer. So scholarship wise, I was looking to go to a school that would offer me a better scholarship opportunity. I didn't necessarily focus on the academic wise of it again, which was probably not the best choice, but it was I knew, okay, so I had two majors in mind. It was accounting, finance, or computer science, just because I really liked doing all these classes in high school. And I was like, okay, computer science, I can just do at any college. So whatever college I chose based on soccer. I knew I'd still get a pretty decent education for computer science. And that's somehow ruled out accounting. So that was just out of the spectrum. It was so fast. I was like, maybe I'll do it. And then I was like, maybe not. So yeah.
Almost like coin flip.
Yeah.
Now, so I kind of love this path, this story here, because you're more focused in sports.
Yeah.
rather than like academics or even just STEM, but you kind of just happen to stumble upon,
Yeah.
computer science, I guess, and that choosing because of soccer. And it's funny because that reminds me of my high school experience. Like literally every class, I every decision I had to make, I made it around my soccer schedule. So
Soccer. Yeah.
even like traveling team, like fall stuff, am I going to play in the fall? Like, should I go into a team? So it's funny. I kind of love that your
Yeah.
everything happened because of soccer. All right. So you went to college then. You went to Chicago State from freshman year to sophomore to senior year, obviously. What was that process? Did you live in the city or did you commute? What was your day-to-day like when you started college, and how different was that from high school?
Yeah. So as a student athlete, most schools require, depending on the division the school is, most schools would require the students to come in a little, like maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks before classes start to start preseason. So freshman year came in, I think 2 weeks before. I lived in the dorms freshman year and sophomore year. Not sophomore year. No, just freshman year. So freshman year in the dorms, playing soccer for like a month before class started almost. And it wasn't so hard to transition into classes just because I had already all my teammates that were at school. So I had friends. But yeah, then after freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year, I stayed in an apartment with some teammates. And then senior year, I commuted.
Okay, this is I slowly turn it into my favorite interview because you were a student athlete, right? So
Yeah.
I wasn't a student athlete. I actually I went to NIU, but I played intramural soccer. So like the first two
Yeah.
years. But I'm kind of loving this aspect of like being an athlete first and then like education.
Yes.
So I imagine as a student athlete, you had access to, mentorship opportunities and just like obviously you did worry a little bit about your academics and whatnot.
Yes.
So I imagine as a student athlete, you had access to, more mentorship opportunities and obviously academic resources probably. So when did you realize, that you were coming to your end of your athlete career and transitioning into, your computer science major, really like looking ahead at the future? Like when was that line crossed? When did you start worrying about, what's next after soccer?
Yeah. So funny story. I probably would not have considered this transition if I did not get pregnant with my daughter junior year. So I have been really like, I had played soccer since I was 4 years old. So growing up, that's all I knew. And not to be like presumida basically, but I think I was a pretty decent player. So I imagined myself going like a lot further than ending at college. But I knew computer science I could do remotely, so I didn't really worry about finding a job because I knew there was job security there. But yeah, after finding that, like after junior year, I had my daughter, and it was like, okay, soccer might not be the career path that you can take right now. So my coach was a big mentor of mine. He is such a caring, like loving, respecting man. He cares for all of his players, like the year they come in, the year they leave. He's played such a big role in my, not my career, just in general, my life. He's just always been an advocate for me and has always like made jokes like, oh, you're gonna work at IBM one day and all this. Like he just was high praise with him, and like I like would never believe him or like, oh yeah, Cristiano, you're joking. But like the way he just would say those things, like now that I come to think of it, I was like, wow, like this man really believed in me. Like he was saying this to me post junior year and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive. So essentially the pregnancy became kind of the realization that, oh, well, maybe soccer is not going to be an option. So I should probably start thinking about computer science in a more serious way. Now, this is just like the advocate part of me, right? The Chicago Red Stars have like
a reserve.
Yes. Yeah. And also like they also do like outside tryouts. So you don't have to completely like walk away.
I am playing like rec with some friends, and this summer I did train a little bit with a local team here, the Chicago Mustangs, just for a little bit because they have an indoor team.
Yeah.
So they play very competitively as well. So whenever I want to be more serious about that, I can ask them to practice.
That's awesome.
They're very like their practices are very intense.
Yeah. Well, so actually I haven't played in like a long time. but recently I actually joined a local like Humble Park group, and I actually will be playing starting tomorrow. We're gonna have like just like a big, again, like going back to basics, like beginner soccer in the evening. So I'm super excited about that. But I love your story. I think it's so unique in that perspective, right? Of becoming an athlete first and then career second, but and then having to kind of shift everything because of that little mishap. But hey, it happens. Everybody has a different story to tell, and all of them are super important. So what has been the most challenging thing about this transition, now that you're, after you graduated, now you're ready to start looking for roles and whatnot? What's been the most challenging thing, like transitioning to the tech community?
I think just getting out there and networking with people and trying to find like a sense of belonging, I would say, because nobody really tells you about this. There's like, so after college, like as a student athlete, nobody tells you about this like void. Not just because I feel like if I wouldn't have had my daughter, I would have felt more lost, just because like you've played this sport all your life and then you just stop. Like if you don't go professionally, it's just all for fun then. And so what were these past 16, 17 years of playing this sport for? So there's just this like sense of like loss of like, what do I do with my life now? Like it was 5 a.m. practices, go to class, go to mid training, go to class, do homework, sleep, repeat. That was my life for the majority of it. And like now, since I'm home all the time, it's just what do I do at home? Like obviously I'm taking care of my children, but like I was so used to having this, okay, you do this, you go do this, and you go do that. And now it's like you have so much free time. Like, and then I could probably put things in there, of course, but like it was a realization like, wow, like I have to do something else other than soccer now.
Yeah, I mean, your whole life changed. And in a sense, it was turned upside down. You were used to this lifestyle of like, almost elite in a way. Yeah. College elite training. And then to just complete like mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, I imagine that's been, a challenging kind of like experience to adjust. So looking back, like, you said that you got pregnant your junior year, which is also another important concept is the concept of internships, right? Like working, getting that hands-on experience, like either junior year and senior year. Did you have any access to internships at all?
Yes, I did end up doing an internship senior year, from summer senior year to the end of last year, actually. we had like a Latino resource center at our school. So they would just send out emails all the time, and I would just like occasionally check them. And this one time I checked it, it was like for an internship through Haku. And so I applied with them, and I was able to get an internship with the US Census Bureau. So I did that for summer and winter of my senior year.
Got it.
Yeah.
What were your responsibilities?
Since I actually didn't have clearance for a long time, I read a lot of like user data files. They were trying to basically rebuilding another website for their users to get like the data from the census. So I just had to review people's problems with that and see how I could help them. Yeah.
So during your experience as student junior senior year, as you're going through the internship process and even just finishing up school, were you part of any groups within in school or even outside that kind of helped your development and to kind of look to for advice and where to go next?
Yeah. So besides soccer, I wasn't really in like groups, but at Chicago State, since the computer department was not very big, I basically knew all the students in it, the ones that were graduating my year or before me or a little after me. So we really became close, and we always helped each other out like in class. So back to that mentoring thing, we peer mentored so much throughout my 4 years. They were so helpful. And really classes I couldn't have done without them. Like if I didn't know what to do and my teacher was not explaining to me well, I was like, can you explain this another way? And then they would explain it a different way. And I was like, oh, literally that's what I needed to know. And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. And it was just great. Yeah.
So how did you prep for, like technical interviews or even just like mock interviews? I know you also mentioned the Latino Center, at your school, like what other resources or opportunities did you take advantage of to prepare you?
Yeah. We also had a career development center. So if I needed help like with my resume or something, I could go in there and ask them for help. They did have workshops for interviews, and so like my interview with US Census was very funny as well. So I was glad I got that. So that was a funny story too. So after I graduated, I just like started looking up like tech stuff, and I went to the Techies Summit, and I was like, oh my goodness, I really need to go to this, and I need to like connect with people. And so I'm in the Slack, so I get a lot of like support from there.
Yeah, Techies is another great group to get a lot of support, especially from Latinos, that are already in these careers. I know that I definitely looked up to them a lot, even though I was also part of Latinas in Tech in the last 2 years. But I love their summits, and they're also very fun. You meet a lot of different people. So this is just my own personal curiosity about the representation aspect of things, like whether in college, like, what was representation like for you? Were there other people that look like you in your department? Like, I'm assuming that computer science, probably not as much, but what was that sense of belonging for you in college versus now kind of transitioning into tech?
Yeah. So Chicago State is like a predominantly Black school. So actually in my computer classes, there were more people of color than not, which made it I think it made it more fun for me because I could connect with the students more and my teachers as well. My internship was remote, so I didn't really get to meet people. So I'm not sure what the diversity was there.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like it was very POC friendly, very person of color friendly then. That which is, that makes it a lot easier, I think, most of the time too. Like you're able to relate a lot more than not having that experience. So what are you excited about for tech? As you're looking into the new career opportunities and looking to see what's next for you. What excites you about joining the tech industry?
Yeah, I think finally finding my first role is going to be such a, like a bittersweet sweet feeling because, school paid off and all the hard work, all the late nights, early mornings have paid off. And just being able to do that and like be a role model for my children to come so they know that they can choose whatever they want to and have like a strong attitude towards it.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like you're setting a prime example, for your children and kind of showing that the whole like you can't be what you can't see. Now you are actually they're going to be seeing you. I think that's definitely a huge accomplishment. So for if any recruiters are listening right now, what are some of the languages that you code or that you learned, and what are some of the things that are technical that excite you about the industry?
Yeah, I learned C++. I know Python and JavaScript. I'm just excited to just get back out there and start, learning more. I really enjoy to learn new things and and do new experiences. So I'm just excited to see what else I can learn.
Have you considered doing something more like on the technical, like project management side of things, or are you looking for solely like software engineering roles?
I have been looking at project management stuff. I was able to, one of my old professors actually sent me an email last year about a Scrum Master class. So I was able to do that in December. So I have my Scrum Master 1, but I just feel like I still don't know a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ideally, what is your perfect role that you're looking for?
Oh man, I think a product manager right now. Yeah.
Product? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like it's a good fit, right? That you definitely understand kind of like where the roadmap is, I guess, for products and being technical enough. I think that definitely makes sense. I will keep my eyes out for you for product management roles in entry level. So in terms of, I'm assuming obviously that one of your goals is to get your first role, but what other goals are you looking forward to in your career?
Yeah, just being able to help others. I am one of 3 on my dad's side who have graduated from college. Nobody else besides us 3. There haven't been many graduates, and we have a lot of younger cousins. So I just want to show them that they can whatever they want to do, they just have to work hard and they can do it. No matter the obstacles that they face. And so just being in a higher role, one of my actual dream jobs would be to work at Nike, just because I wear a lot of their apparel. But yeah, so just shoot for the stars and
honestly
beyond.
Same. I wear a lot of Nike stuff, and also even now that I'm getting back into playing soccer, I like bought like 3 pairs of soccer shorts.
Yeah.
No, but that's great. I mean, I think you already are setting a great example, for your family and whatnot. I guess if you could, if you would have known one thing that you wish you knew, what kind of advice would you share with others that might be helpful, that surprised you the most, I guess?
Yeah, it's okay to not know what you want to do, because for me I really just hit the jackpot with computer science, because going in I was like, okay, I can do this. Coding came quite easy to me, so I was like, so my path was like clear. But I saw in a lot of my teammates that they were like so stressed because they didn't like what they had majored, or they didn't know what they wanted to major in. And 4 years later, here we are, and some of them did switch their careers, some of them, or their majors, some of them like are doing different things now and like are living their best lives. So it's okay to not know what you want to do at the beginning of your college experience, or whatever experience you choose to make.
Absolutely. That's super important. I think a lot of like young people get super wrapped up, in choosing that one thing that they think is going to be there forever. I mean, I studied Spanish, essentially Spanish language and culture, right? And I did not end up going into that. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to be a Spanish for native speakers teacher. That didn't work out. And things changed so much that you definitely should not feel like you have to, pick one thing and stick with that forever. Now, before we wrap up, I'm curious to know about your motivations, because it sounds like you've had kind of a rough, time
Yeah.
in your path, becoming an athlete and doing all of that 17 years of like practicing and whatnot, to then kind of have this hiccup and switch your life completely. And then to becoming also a first generation student, like, and trying to set that example for your family. I mean, you have gone through a lot, girl.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear your motivations into kind of moving forward and to, keep working at it and getting at it, because I think that's something that definitely should be shared with the audience, because I don't know what I would have done, honestly, like in your shoes.
Yeah.
So please tell us your motivation.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, my parents, because they have supported me through all and every decision that I've made. I know it wasn't easy for them with my hiccup, but they are there for me 100% of the time. Sorry, Jesus.
No, it's okay.
Second, my girls and my husband, because I want them to live a good life. I was able to have a luxury because of my parents, so being able to do that for my daughters is just like, it's going to be the jackpot as well. Yeah. And then all my cousins, because I know they look up to me, and I want them to know that no matter what obstacles come their way, they can do it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for opening up. I mean, I know it's a lot, and I really appreciate your story, and I just honestly, I'm in awe. I think you already are a huge example for our community, and show that with hard work and dedication, you can make your goals happen no matter what the circumstance is. So thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think I'm about to get personal again. So I myself, I am going to become a mom at the end of this year, and it'll be twins. My wife is pregnant, so we are going to become parents. And I think one of the things that does scare me, is managing my life as like a parent, but also, obviously working and work life. And honestly, I don't believe in work-life balance. I think it's like a work-life integration and kind of managing the two. But I would love to hear your experience as a mother, as a mom, and going through college, because you're essentially starting your career, but you already are a parent. Like, you're ahead of a lot of people. So if you can shed light into what your experience has been as a parent and, student and transitioning into tech, I imagine it's a lot.
Yeah. So it's hard. The first year is like, you don't know what's going to happen. You're just like, okay, I'm going to plan for this, and it's just out the window in 2 seconds. So, and like, you'll be upset, but then you're like, it's whatever. So try not to get too upset when things don't go as planned, because it's not going to always work out. Celebrate when it works out is what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after junior year, senior year, I actually did play. So I was gone. The season is from August to the end of October. So when we had to travel, I would leave. So my daughter would stay with my husband or my parents. And so again, thanks my parents for always watching her when they can, when I needed her to be watched. And my what are they called in English? Suegros?
My in-laws.
Yes, in-laws. For my in-laws, because they also, whenever we needed someone to watch her, they would watch her. I do have 2 under 2 for a couple more months, so it's a fun experience. Just seeing them grow and learn new things, and you're just so amazed of what these little humans can do.
Thank you again for sharing that personal advice. I think I definitely very excited. I know that it can become sometimes difficult, especially for you, as a young athlete, and now a parent, and then on top of that, like now coming into the real world of tech and looking for that first role. So best of luck to you in that transition and finding your first role. There's an event coming up with Latinas in Tech called Lit Recruit on September 15th. There's going to be folks hiring on the spot, so please come to that. We have a ton of events. Techeria also has a bunch of events coming up, so let's get you that first role, and let's get you either in product or software, whatever really you want to do. For anyone that is looking to possibly connect with you, what's the best way to reach you? Do you have LinkedIn or any other social media channels?
Yeah, I have all social media channels. I don't really post very often, but I do use them daily. I will send you my links to all of them. But yeah, whatever
Awesome.
You guys, I will check it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and send me those so I can put them on the show notes, and have people reach out to you, because you definitely deserve that first job soon.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your time, and definitely keep in touch, and we'll chat again soon to get an update on what you're up to.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Chicago Techies podcast. If you enjoyed listening, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review on iTunes. Let's continue the conversation on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us at Chicago Techies on all social media channels. Thank you again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.